Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about the film Rope, which is an American film produced in 1948, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. Two guys, they strangled to death their old colleague. And then they put his body in a trunk, and then they organized a kind of a feast, a kind of a party, and then they invited his parents, his fiancée, and another common colleague they had. We can see that those guys who perpetrated the crime, it was two guys. One of them, he was really sure about what he wanted to do, but the other guy, it seemed he was forced by the other one to kill. It seems that he didn't want too much to kill, but the other guy influenced him negatively. And then this guy, who seemed to be a kind of leader, and the one who really was certain he wanted to kill, he also invited to the party a guy who used to be his teacher in the college, who is played by actor James Stewart. And then we can see that this kind of teacher, he had some weird beliefs that murder must be something committed by a few privileged people, and then the life of those people who didn't matter must be eliminated. There were even comparisons with that thing that happened in World War II that killed many people, and they also thought that some people were superior to others. So this teacher had this kind of mentality, and the guy invited him to the party because he thought that if this teacher knew about the murder, maybe he would understand why they committed the murder and even applaud them. And then those two guys, they also had an elderly maid, and she realized that there was something wrong in the house because she made the dining table, she organized everything, the plates, the glasses, and all of a sudden the guy changed their minds and wanted to serve food in a trunk. And the table was so well organized and they seemed nervous. The maid quite couldn't understand that, but it's okay. The party began. The parents and the fiancé of the murdered guy, they arrived, and then they wondered why the guy didn't arrive yet. He was never late. His fiancé was worried, his parents were worried, but of course that they couldn't imagine they were having dinner in the trunk with the body of their son, of their loved one, inside that. Then the teacher arrived. And then he started to realize more than anyone else that there was something wrong in that house. The guy who wasn't too willing to kill, he was extremely nervous. He had been the teacher of all of those guys, the murdered guy, both guys who committed the murder, and then of the colleague of them who was called. And then he saw that they were weird, but it was just a suspicion. Then the maid told him that she also found that the guys were weird. But it's okay, he had no proof. But then, after a while, the parents of the murdered guy, they decided to leave because they were too worried with his son. And then the teacher left too. But when he was leaving, the maid, instead of giving him his hat, she gave him by mistake the hat of the guy who was murdered. And the teacher knew that because of the initials of the murdered guy inside the hat. Then he had some sort of evidence that something was going wrong. After a while, he returned to the apartment pretending he had forgotten his cigarette case. And then he started to make questions. He pretended that he wanted to have a drink, to talk. And after a while, that guy wasn't too willing to kill, but was very nervous. He was completely nervous and ended up confessing. The other guy, who was the leader, who thought that murder was supposed to be committed by a superior feel and blah blah blah, he also confessed that to the teacher. And the teacher, instead of finding that wonderful, he was horrified. And even more horrified that it was his theories that influenced him to do that. And he said to the guys that he was extremely ashamed of his theories for the first time in his life, that he wasn't aware of the harm that they could cause. And then he made a sort of speech that is very interesting, that who are we to decide who is superior, who is inferior? We are not God, and all lives have value, and everyone deserves to live, to be happy, to work, to make their dreams come true. And then, of course, that he was horrified, and then to call the attention of the police, the teacher, he had a gun, he shot by the window to catch the attention of the police. And then both guys, especially the one who was the leader, they were coldly waiting for the police. And it's not shown what will happen with the characters afterwards, but it's implied that they were arrested and punished for their crime. It is a very interesting film, especially because it was made a few years after the end of World War II, when this kind of racist and eugenic ideologies were in vogue. And it's interesting to see that it's a film that shows the perversity of human mind. The leader, the guy who was sure that murder was supposed to be committed by superior people, he was so cruel that he used the rope with which he killed the guy to tie the books to give to his father. So he gave to the father of the murdered guys books tied with the rope that he used to kill their son. And he showed no remorse. And also the other guy, who was too nervous, he didn't exactly show any remorse. He was nervous in fear of being caught. He wasn't exactly regretting what he did. He was just a little bit more fearful and more influenced by the other guy. But it wasn't exactly remorse. And then we can see that they called their other colleague, not because they found the guy nice or anything. It's because the fiancée of the murdered guy, she used to be his girlfriend before started dating the murdered guy. So he kind of wanted the woman to cheat on her fiancé with her former boyfriend. So it was something very, very sick. It's a good film. It's a short film. It's famous for its long shots and for its edition. It's one of the most experimental films by Alfred Hitchcock. And in a short period of time, the narration is shown in a very smooth way, and there's nothing lacking in the suspense. The long shots give an extra effect of the tension, because we feel that we are together, we are by the side of all characters. So we don't feel as if we are watching, we feel as if we were there, seeing everything happening. And nearly all the scenes, they took place inside the apartment, except for the initial scene of the film, which took place on the street. So it's a very ingenious film. The plot is well told. It's a good example of how perverse some people can be, and how their minds work. And it's good to see the danger of some weird ideologies and how they can be used as an excuse to commit the most terrible acts. It's a film that never gets old. That's all for now, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you!